other things that we've been talking about, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on, are a lot of the work we do with our clients is understanding what traffic profiles look like. Looking at their peaks, whether that's driven by these high demand items or influencers driving high traffic, or your traditional peaks like Black Friday or other sale periods. And we'll do a lot of analysis of things like their analytics packages to understand what those customers are doing at that time, what those peak profiles look like. But is that a challenge from a bot perspective as well? I mean, are bots now, are they being captured in analytics? Are they only seen in the web logs? And how are your clients mitigating against that?
So there's a lot. So bots themselves span the whole gamut. So you've got sort of basic bots, which are often quite easy to identify, all the way through to very advanced, much more professionalized. And we're seeing an increasing professionalism of the bot operator industry as profits go up. The PS5's really highlighted this, with some groups making more than £1 million worth of profit. We found a few groups who are making £1 to £1.5 million of profit with £1 million investment. These are really professional outfits. So we see people who are requiring free bots. You can get a free bot off GitHub to target PS5s or shoes or rare Pokemon cards, any sort of item like this. But you also get the much more expensive bots, up to about $27,500. I think it's one of the more expensive we saw recently. That's a very professional, that's a big investment. That's more of a sort of organizational tool than it is an individual hobbyist trying to get one PlayStation 5. That's a business level investment. Whereas the less capable ones tend to be a lot easier to spot. So a lot of the less capable ones, for instance, might one computer making, say, 10,000 requests a minute. That's fairly easy to spot, and you're probably going to assume that someone's not hammering their F5 key 10,000 times a minute. If so, you might want to call their doctor about the RSI they're about to start getting. I feel more sorry for the customer in that case in many ways. But you also have slightly more advanced bots. So some bot operators got a bit smart to this, and so they built a slightly more advanced one. So and we're seeing this sort of arms race of defenses and detection methods get better, and the bot operators move to the next step up and try to bypass those defenses. The defenses get better, and so on and so forth, and they get stronger and stronger. So to try and get around that one computer, we see a lot of proxying. Attackers started rotating IPs, so you'd get, say, 20 requests from one IP, and then a couple of minutes later you get some from another IP, and the IP changes very regularly, possibly even for each request. You can again spot the fairly low-hanging fruit from that fairly easily. If a company looks at these logs, does a bit of whois lookups on the IPs and goes, we probably don't have 5,000 customers sitting in a data center in the Netherlands looking at it. But as a general rule, most of our customers come from residential IPs rather than data center IPs. However, again, attackers are getting wise to this. So they move up into more of a residential proxies, in some cases using legitimate residential proxies, in other cases using somewhat more illegally acquired botnets. And some of these operators aren't even aware that they're possibly piggybacking off illegal botnets. These criminals are selling them to people who think they're acting legitimately, and the users of the computers are aware of this activity. But that's a sort of slight tangent away from there. But you get the idea of where this arms race is going with, you've got the low-hanging detections, and then it gets harder and harder as you're dealing with the more advanced groups. And in many ways, the more advanced groups, the more dangerous ones. They're likely to be the ones more likely to snap up all of your products, to find exploits or ways of interacting with your website or your API that weren't expected, and give them a slight edge as well. And that's really where bot management solutions can help a lot. We use machine learning or a bit of secret sauce in there, and real-time examination of the data by human analysts as well, who are very skilled, very experienced. And what that allows us to do is the sort of machine learning clusters various different artifacts, very different aspects of it together, and identifies some of these attacks, despite the adversary's best ways of trying to hide them. And then real-time analysis of the data also helps. But as you say, there's always that hard part of what exactly do we know? One of the interesting things we saw was that as PS5s went up in terms of search on Google and so forth, the interest in scalper bots went up at the same rate. So you see that sort of pattern of more people want bots at the same time that big products come out. So understanding your sort of threats in terms of the bots coming towards you is also important, as more people are inclined to use bots when they have a need to get a product.